Carney's event
Here we go.
for Carnival. These two lovely ladies came up to me and said, you would be perfect to MC our next event. And I said, well, wait a minute, this is Carney's charity. And Carney, well, he's busy. He can't do it. And then I said, well, what about Martin Kilcoyne? They said, he's busy too. I said, what about Randy Carricker? No, he can't do it either. So they said, you're our ninth best choice.
We like to save the best for last.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes. That is Bridget Tyree, who is, what's your title?
Executive Director
Of?
Gateway Hemophilia Association.
And Ann Parrott is with us. Ann, what's your official title?
I am president of Gateway Hemophilia Association.
Okay, so tell us about hemophilia, because it is a condition that a lot of people don't understand.
It's an inherited bleeding disorder. It affects 1 in every 5,000 male births. There's about 20,000 people with severe hemophilia
In the country? In St. Louis?
In the country.
In the country, okay.
There's about 800 in the state of Missouri.
Okay.
And
It only affects
Only
males?
no, it does affect male and females, but it's dominantly males. And actually, it's an inherited bleeding disorder, but in 1/3 of the cases, it is a spontaneous gene. So there can be no family history.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so if you are diagnosed with hemophilia, what does that mean exactly?
Mm-hmm. There is products that you can take. I have a son who there's different severities, so he has severe hemophilia. So he does a proactive approach. He takes medication every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So 3 times a week, it's an infusion. So they actually put a needle in their arm to give them themselves medicine. We do a camp for bleeding disorders every June. What we do at camp is we have these older mentors, kids that are 14, 15, teaching the 7-year-olds how to self-infuse. And even my age, I still get a little scared of needles, but to see a 7-year-old putting a needle in their arm, because this is how they can survive, this is how they can live an independent life and grow and be able to go out and play soccer and do these things because they're able to infuse.
Now, I thought, Ann, that does this restrict the kids from going to play kickball and soccer and all the other things?
Not at all. And so that's kind of the approach, as far as I have taken with my son. My son is 6 years old, and I've always said, I want him to be a boy because he's a boy.
Right.
And that was very hard living with a toddler boy and watching them hit their head and these goose eggs appear. And then you have to pin your son down for hours on end to find a vein. And we had a very traumatic experience. Through Gateway Hemophilia Association and all the resources out there, we have also been able to take a proactive approach, and he has a port now, and we do infusions twice a week, and he knows that he's okay if he gets hurt. We'll get his medicine, and he'll be okay, and he can go play kickball. He just has to know what to do when he gets hurt,
Right.
and that's the important thing.
Is this something that they have to live with the rest of their lives?
Their whole life. Mm-hmm.
It's a chronic disorder.
But we have come light years, have we not, with technology?
So my father, I've never known life without hemophilia. My father had hemophilia, and he had to go to St. Louis University to get his infusions. So now we're to a point in the 90s.
It used to be just blood transfusions was the only way to stop the bleeding, so whole blood. And that's how, AIDS, hepatitis, all that stuff spread. And the hemophilia community is really attributed to the clean blood that we have now.
And so now it's a shot?
It is a medication.
It's a medication.
It's a medication. It's a factor replacement. So they're actually missing a factor in their blood that, inhibits their blood from clotting. And so now it's a medication. But this medication is not cheap.
Okay, that was my next question. Does insurance carry this stuff?
It does.
Somewhat, kind of,
so
all
it
of
goes on your weight. Okay. So let's say my son is about 40 pounds right now. One dose is about $3,000 to $5,000.
One dose is $3,000 to $5,000,
and that's
and he's doing it twice a week.
Twice a week. So think about a 200-pound male. How much a dose of that would be? Now insurance does cover it, but it is hard to get around insurance these days.
You're saying
they
that
don't. There's lots of, they try not to cover you. There's companies that actually deny men jobs because they know that they have hemophilia and they know that that will cost them an arm and a leg. So it's hard. And there's organizations like Gateway Hemophilia, national organizations that really are working hard with advocacy and things like that to get this drug that they have to have to live.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my son's 22, and last year he spent $469,000 on his product alone, and he's a healthy 22-year-old. That's no hospital stays, but that is the preferred method of treatment is the proactive approach. So tomorrow tonight we are going to Jefferson City, and we will meet with our elected officials tomorrow. Every March we go down to Jeff City and we thank our elected officials for the job that they do, and we let them know what it's like to live with a bleeding disorder and how important it is for access to care and lifetime caps. So we talk to them about that.
And are they receptive to this conversation?
They are. When you bring a 6-year-old in, or you bring a 22-year-old in like Austin and say, you know what, he has a job, he has his own insurance, he's not disabled, and this is what we need, because they want to be contributing members to society. They want to play sports.
Right.
So one misconception is that if you have a bleeding disorder, you're not going to bleed any faster than the normal person. You will just bleed longer. So it is an emergency situation, but they're not going to bleed
Right.
from a paper
Yeah,
cut.
and it's internal bleeding
Yes.
more so than
Right, so that's the next question. So we get a cut on our arm, we scrape our knee, we fall down, and right, we get a scab. That's not the scary part.
That's not the scary part. It's the bruising.
It's the
It's the
internal,
internal
bleeding.
bleeding.
So talk about that for a second.
So it's like you hit your head, okay? Well, is the bruise coming out or is it going in? You want to see the bruise coming out because it's not going to be going into your brain.
What about like legs?
Legs,
and
anywhere.
chest and arms?
And it's mainly you really have to watch joints, because blood in your joints, if you're bleeding into a joint, if that blood deteriorates the joint. So the more blood that goes in there, a lot of these older hemophiliacs have arthritis, can't walk, or in wheelchairs because they didn't have the prophy dosing that we have now, or the medication that we have now. So
What's going on Saturday?
So we have
This is where I got roped into the
okay.
deal. on
this
Saturday.
is where we roped him in.
our favorite person now, McGraw.
Yes,
Carney, you're out.
until Saturday after the event, and then they won't speak to me for
McGraw?
He'll never talk to us again after this.
So on Cinco de Mayo this year, we're having a big Unite for Bleeding Disorders walk in Forest Park. So leading up to the event, we wanted to give our team captains a way that they could raise money. So we are copying off MDA. They used to do a jail or bail event, and we're doing that at Ferrado's in Rock Hill on Saturday from 10:30 to 3 o'clock. So our team captains will be locked up. They will be given a jail amount, and or a bail amount, so they can get out of jail. And when they raise that, they'll be released. But we're going to have McGraw out there. We're going to have Louie from the Blues mascot there at 12:30. Rock Hill's fire department's going to be out there with their fire truck. And then Ferrado's will donate 20% of their sales that day back to GHA.
And people can come by Ferrado's and just donate some money to the cause? Is that right?
Absolutely.
Right. And this is all day Saturday?
All day, well, till 3 o'clock Saturday.
Till 3 o'clock on Saturday.
Yes.
Ferrado's is what? Manchester and McKnight, kind of, right there?
Yeah, Manchester McKnight.
Yeah. All right. Anything else we need to know, ladies?
If you can't make it, go to our website, gatewayhemophilia.org, and come out and join us for our Unite for Bleeding Disorders walk on May 5th at Forest Park.
What's the website?
gatewayhemophilia.org.
Ann Parrott, Bridget Tyree. Saturday. What time do we have to be at Ferrado's on Saturday?
We start at 10:30. So
10:30.
10:30.
So I guess I got to be there at
Sharp.
10:30. 10:30 sharp. Oh, now they're getting pushy about the whole deal. All right, guys. 10:30 at Ferrado's Saturday morning at 10:30.
Thank you very